What is the inpatient limit? That is one. Number two, outpatient. Does the cover also have what we call dental? Does it have what we call, does it cover pre-existing conditions? What you need to understand is, as much as a cover could be having a limit of, let's say, 1 million, that doesn't really mean that once you go to a hospital, you will be covered 100%.
Hi everyone, I hope this video finds you well. My name is Martin, in case you are here for the first time. Na sisi ni watu wa insurance. We do civic education as well as reviews on insurance, especially within the Kenyan market. Now today we are going to discuss about medical cover, and I know most of you have been making inquiries on the same. Na kuna mtu ameuliza some of the factors that you need to consider when you're choosing a medical cover. So that is exactly what we are going to do. And we want to apologize for not being able to post for the last 2 or 3 days because I wasn't feeling well. Siku naweza kuongea, I had lost my voice, but anyway we are back like we never left. So we normally encourage our viewers to keep sending us questions touching on insurance, because we want to help you understand how insurance work. Because if you don't, most of you get frustrated, not because insurance is bad, but because by the time you are buying an insurance product, you don't have adequate information. So when you are going to claim, you are surprised to have some of this information that probably you didn't get at the point when you are buying these insurance products. First of all, make sure that you subscribe, turn on the notification bell, so that every time we post a new video, you'll be among the first people to be notified. Share, like, leave a comment, and question in the comment section below, and let's get into the video. So karibu sana Bwana Mwai.
Yes, thank you Martin, and to our viewers, we really want to appreciate you for keeping us on toes, because we kind of follow what you ask us to do. And today, because we've had a lot of questions in regards to a medical cover or medical cover following the crisis that is currently in Kenya. So what we want first of all to encourage you is to have that share, no matter how the limit you have it. You'd rather have a small umbrella than have none when the rain beats you. So we want to look at what you really need to know or to understand before you buy a good family medical cover. That is why we are here today, and I want first of all to let you know that we've come up with a very good platform which can help you compare rates for motor, for personal accident cover, and soon we are going to launch for medical cover, whereby you can be able to compare different insurance companies and what they can be able to give you. The platform is Jelic Insurance platform. We shall put on the description below the link which you can follow, so that you can even try for yourself. It is very easy, like 1, 2, 3. But back to our main topic, we want to discuss on why it is important, first of all, to understand what is the most key things in a good medical cover. So we have like 6 main things that you must look out for. So very first thing is what we call the scope. That is 1. And number 2 is the network of hospitals. Number 3, look at the limits and sub limits. Number 5, look at the exclusions, or what we call the waiting periods. You also need to look at the exclusion, because this one can really damage you, especially when you go to a hospital. So even if we are discussing this, I want you to have a pen and a paper, so that you can be able to note down the most important things. So when we talk of the scope, we are talking of things like to what extent does this cover to what extent can it handle? Number one, what is the inpatient limit? That is one. Number two, outpatient. Does the cover also have what we call dental? Does it have what we call, does it cover pre-existing conditions? Pre-existing conditions, eh? Does it cover optical? Yeah, so that is to scope, because what you will find is that majority of medical cover are relatively affordable, but when you talk of when it comes to the inpatient limit, you find that it is quite small, which means that in the event the bill goes to the extreme end, you still go back to what you were avoiding initially. That is the harambe. Yeah, so the very key thing is to compare and see what is the limit, because we have different limits. We have from as low as 75,000. Yeah, we can go to 100,000, 200,000, 500,000, 1 million, up to 10 million. So that is the first thing you check. Number two is look at the outpatient, and the most key thing is what is the maximum outpatient level. Yeah, and something worth noting is that you can never have outpatient cover limit only. You must include what you call an inpatient cover limit while taking up an outpatient, because I've had this question for for so many times, that why can I take an outpatient cover? What I am here to tell you is that the outpatient is taken on a combination basis. Yeah, so another thing is to check under the scope is what we call the pre-existing. You will note that yes, you have a medical cover. Unfortunately, when you go to a hospital, the hospital tells you this one you will have to pay it out of pocket. Why? Because the pre-existing clause is clearly stated that it has some kind of a waiting period. Yeah, and then other things to look under the scope is dental level and what you call optical level. Yes, that's the medical cover allow you to take up things like spectacles. Yeah, so that is the first thing. Number two key thing that you really need to check is the network of hospitals, because this is your medical cover. Yeah, it is important that you check whether your preferred hospitals are included under that medical cover. I hope that is clear. So number three is on the limits and the sub-limit. Why this is important is because we have different insurance or medical providers, that is the insurance companies, and they offer different limits. What you need to understand is, as much as a cover could be having a limit of, let's say, 1 million, that doesn't really mean that once you go to a hospital you will be covered 100%, because there is something we call a sub-limit, which means that the category of the medical cover you have chosen could either be covering the entire bill, or depending with a certain condition, it covers to a certain percentage. For example, you could be having a medical cover of let's say 2 million limit, overall limit. Unfortunately, you have something like diabetes. Some medical cover have that clause of sub-limit that says that if you have a pre-existing condition like diabetes, the maximum we would pay is possibly 30%. If it's something like cancer, yes, the limit could be 2 million. Unfortunately, you'll find that the medical cover possibly allows up to 50%. That is why it is important, as you choose this medical cover, also ensure that you have a good and informed insurance agent to guide you on that. Yeah, so that is on sub limits. So just to do a small recap, limit is the overall cover limit. We are talking of your cover, yes, could be 1 million, 2 million, 3 million. But when we talk of sub limit, this simply dictates each and every illness, how much amount is allocated in terms of percentage. That is, yes, you have your medical cover worth 2 million, but for example, cancer, it's allocated 50%, diabetes 30%, high blood pressure this much. So that is why it is important to understand. Then the fourth thing you need to be keen on is the waiting period. Yeah, maybe majority of us don't know that just like the former NHIF or the current SHA, but I don't know whether the current SHA has that clause of waiting period, but ordinarily what you'll find is that every medical cover, not unless you are taking up what we call a corporate medical cover, that one, it doesn't give you that waiting period. You don't have to wait. But for individual medical cover, you'll have to wait. For a normal illness, usually 30 days. 30 days. For surgery, usually you'll find it is 10 months. For pre-existing condition, 1 year. For maternity, 10 months. So this is also important. But different companies applies different rules in regards to waiting period. Now, another key thing is to look at what we call the exclusion. Yeah, there are some instances where you will find that your medical cover doesn't allow you to be used for a particular purpose. For example, if you want to do beauty, yeah, like plastic surgery, it's something like related to beauty, that one is clearly excluded. If it's something like you go to a chemist and you have prescribed yourself some drugs, your medical cover will be very straightforward, telling you that for that falls under the exclusion. But the most important thing you need to have is a well-informed insurance agent to guide you on this, because as much as we could be doing this online, sometimes we may not be everywhere. That is why we advise you, kindly look for someone who can be able to, or who have a basic understanding on matters to do with medical cover. Yeah, because this is what have happened before. You get a medical cover, yes. Unfortunately, once you fall sick and you go to a hospital, you are told that this particular illness falls under what we call the exclusion, or it has a waiting period. So without those fine basics on your medical cover, you may end up hitting an insurance company, but it's not because you really wanted to have that, but simply because your agent didn't put it clearly so that you can add. Yeah, so that is the most we could possibly give you for today. But if you have any question, you feel free to put it under that description box, so that in our next video we can be able to cover it. So with that, I don't know whether there is anything from your end, Martin.
I think you have put it so well. If they have anything that they want to have clarity about, they can always post that question in the description box, I mean the comment section.
Yeah.
So keep sending us those questions and we'll be happy to do detailed video for you. So I think that's it for today.
Thank you, Martin.
Can call it a day.
And our team.
Yes.
All right.
So until we meet you in the next one, God bless you and bye-bye.